Matt, what is the situation where you are in Tampa?
Asieh, well, thanks for putting a spotlight on our community. I can tell you things are far better now than they were just 12 hours ago. We saw the storm roll in last night, and even though the storm had downgraded, what ended up hitting the Tampa Bay area was still quite terrifying. The sound of the storm outside, the torrential rains, it was literally deafening on the wind, on the walls, on the windows. There's majority of the bay is still without power today. And earlier today, I saw the devastation that layered on devastation out in St. Pete and the Barrier Islands. It was truly unbelievable.
Well, you knew things were going to get really bad, and yet you chose to stay. Why?
Yeah, great question. So first of all, I'm privileged enough to live in a building that is a new construction designed to withstand a high Category 4 hurricane up to 140, 150 miles per hour. So when I learned that about half my neighbors were staying behind, many of whom are elderly, I knew that this is where I wanted to be so I could be able to help out during and after the storm.
So how badly is your neighborhood? I know you said you ventured out. How bad is the damage? Can you give us a sense of what it looks like in your area?
Yeah, so in my area, what we saw immediately prior to the storm were colossal piles of people's belongings stripped from their homes, all because of Hurricane Helene. And these piles, many of which were as tall as people's homes, were then susceptible to the heavy rain and especially the high wind. So last night, what we found was, even though in our building, all the residences have fortified windows, our common areas are not. And we saw piece of debris being lifted off of these piles from in front of these homes, slamming into the glass of common areas, shattering them in some places, but really turning into projectiles across and outside of the neighborhood.
Yeah, which was a big concern with these two storms being so close together. Matt, do you have power?
No, I do not, Asieh.
Oh, wow. And in terms of hurricanes, you've been through something like this before?
I have. So I've done disaster relief volunteering for about 22 years. I've been in a couple hurricanes previous. This was by far the worst.
Wow. All right. Well, and then in the days ahead, what do you think the hardest or the biggest challenge will be in your community?
I would say one of the biggest challenges we're going to face is honestly a continuation of cleanup after Hurricane Helene. We've now been set back several days. Everything was closed in the days leading up to Milton. We're now without power. We're basically back at ground zero that we were when Hurricane Helene had passed, without food, without gasoline, without grocery stores, I should say. And so we're needing to get back up on our feet again for the second time in 2 weeks. And it's just going to take all of us helping each other, really.
Yeah, well, the community usually comes together during these difficult times. And we wish you the best of luck, and we're so glad you're okay.
Thanks, Asieh.
All right.